Hello and welcome back to the ministry. And today we're going to be talking about rejection. God will have people reject you for your own protection. And He will also have people reject you in order to press you forward into the place that He's really calling you to walk in. Okay? If you are a child of God, rejection is probably one of the most familiar things that you are aware of in your life, aside from anything else. And you can't figure out why. If you're new to Christ, let me explain to you why. You're being rejected because you're set apart from everybody else, because you're not like everybody else. God didn't make you like everybody else. The devil hates you because you're not like everybody else, and he will try to destroy you because of it. Sorry to say that. It's a walk that you have to do to learn. Now, if you want to be a coddled, sweet, kind, little Christian that just want to go to church, read your word, and just be, I'm going to go to my 9-to-5 job and I'm going to be all right because I'm going to go to church and I'm going to be okay. Lord, just bless my family and it's going to be okay. Yeah. You do that. And you probably won't see the fullness of the storehouse of the blessings that the Lord has for you because you weren't willing to push into the thing. But as I previously said, we all have gifts, we all have talents. But because we all have gifts and we all have talents, the ones that are willing to rise up and actually pursue the talents in which they are called to do with their life, that the Lord will actually send a prophet to you. I've had a couple words prophesied over me. To you to tell you. Oh, and for you, this is what the Lord thy God is saying. And then if you have the audacity when you get that word to start to pursue it, welcome to rejection. Have a seat. Stay a while. Because you're about to meet a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection. Because the places and spaces that God's going to call you into, if you really pray and you really stand and you really work towards the thing that God's calling you to do, you're going to be in rooms, you're going to be in realms, you're going to be around people, you're going to see some things, you're going to have some experiences. And when you do, let me tell you, let me repeat, let me tell you, you're going to get rejected. And when I tell you the type of jealousy that people will have, its intent is to fold you up and roll you away. I've dealt with people that was so I couldn't figure out what in the world I did to you. What I do to you? I thought we was cool. Let me explain something to you. One of the biggest forms of rejection is this person we like to call a narcissist. A narcissist is a person that's going to love bomb you, feed you in. I love you. You good. We friends. I love you. I'm your love. I'm your boyfriend. I'm your auntie. I'm your mama. Your daddy. Your boyfriend. I love you. They gonna find your weak points. All the places in you that are weak. They gonna love bomb. Make you feel like $1 million. Then they gonna slowly start to confuse you. Slowly start to gaslight you. slowly give you statements and inklings that are going to make you feel like they are your source of information, that you can't do anything without their say so, that you can't operate without them. You see these signs? You see the door? Run towards it. Run and run fast. Run. Because the next thing that's going to happen, you're either going to run into the fact that they are abuser, emotionally, or physically. Most of them are emotional abusers. And these types of abusers are going to attack you randomly with things, whether they are yelling at you out of nowhere, they're doing just some weird action in which they are just telling you, speaking word curses over your life of everything that is just not going to happen in your life because, what you think you're going to do that for? Because look at you. How you going to do that? What you mean you going to do that? You can't even get you a job. What you talking about? You going to do that? You need money for that and you ain't got none. So what you talking about? What you mean? See, the word says don't cast your pearls to swine. That guy. What you think that you think that you have the ability to? Or vice versa. Why would he have an interest in you? For what? Why? What reason? Money? You have to borrow money from such and such. How you think you gonna be a millionaire? They gonna keep reminding you, keeping you stagnant, stuck and right in that place that they can comfortably continue to keep you in their box, covering their box. Don't step outside the box. Stay in the box. Because if you try to come out that box, I'm going to fold you up. This is what the spirit of rejection does. It psychologically trains you. Parents do this to their children. They don't realize they're doing it. Some of them don't realize they're doing it because their parents did it to them and their parents' parents did it to them. And because of that, they do it to you. So sometimes it ain't really their fault. It's the spirits that they're dealing with that they don't even realize that they're dealing with. And once you can identify them, you can combat them. And as soon as the spirits realize, the spirit within them realizes, oh, she ain't one to mess with. Oh, he ain't one to mess with. They own our scheme. We can't fold them like that. So then they just gonna attack. Viciously attack you. It's like, oh, ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I got stories. I got receipts. I wish at times I hadn't purchased from them stores. Can I take this receipt back? But I'm grateful because now I know when I start to see signs, red flags, pause. Now, if you see a sign of a red flag, be very cautious of a sign of a red flag. Because there can be a sign of a red flag. It's not the flag. What do I mean? If you see something that resembles your past, but you have not done a check-in with that, meaning fear is false evidence appearing real. Check to make sure what you saw was what it actually was before, because the enemy is cunning with creating scenarios to imitate a situation that you've been in your past to trigger you to back away. It's like, oh, I'm back away from this. This looks too much. Especially for y'all. Anybody here, when you hear the words kingdom marriage, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all got spouses, y'all got people, y'all got things y'all got to be doing with your lives. First thing that enemy's going to do, if you manage to find your God-ordained spouse, be aware of your triggers, because that's what the devil's going to come for first. He's going to create as many scenarios as he can to get you to back out of communication with your spouse. I can't tell you how many times I have listened to other young ministers that are just entering into their phase and their season of courtship with their ordained spouses, and they see their triggers and they go haywire. Why am I talking about this? Because your triggers can make you reject somebody and make them feel like they're rejecting you. Some of it comes from the enemy trying to play games. Others, it comes from scenarios where it's just a situation that's meant to create an illusion to make you back away from the situation that you're supposed to be in. Remember the video I talked about entitled, I keep forgetting the title of this video. When you're waiting on a bus stop, I think it is. Or the vehicle, you need to change your vehicle, something like that. And in it, I talk about sometimes when you're in a situation, you get into a vehicle, the vehicle feels uncomfortable. Especially if you weren't planning on taking this route. Some people, especially if you're in new relationships, whether it's friendships, courtship relationships, love relationships of whatever sort. Whenever it comes to relationship, you have to be aware what types of relationships you're dealing with. How you need to understand how the other person thinks towards relationships. You don't know what types and forms of rejection that they've gone through, and because of that, you have to be aware, because you don't want to set their triggers off. Now, it can be different. Another young minister I listened to, she said, be careful of taking on other people's burdens. She was specifically talking about ordained spouses, but this is still relevant, that if you take on other people's burdens, you will actually fold yourself up, because you're trying to appease another person because you don't want to trigger them. I am classic for this. My entire young adulthood, I loved trying to avoid other people's triggers. Can I please not have? I'm not going to hit your trigger. I didn't offend you. I'm gonna just make myself. I'm gonna make myself disappear, because I can just. Please don't get mad at me. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. I'm gonna go into my little corner. Just leave me alone. Don't. And narcissists, please let me let you know something. A narcissist, if you go into your little corner, they come into your little corner and say, why are you in your corner? Because I'm trying to get away from you. I said all this to say what? Rejection folds you up. Some of us are called to places and spaces where we have to deal with people in places of high power, high esteem, high money. And because we have to deal with people in those areas, guarantee you the people in those areas, take a person like myself, if I was, now this is the ministry page, okay? If you go on my Instagram, I know how to do my looks up, but it's Sunday, relaxation day, next to church, relaxation day. Sometimes God will have you in a season that when he's ministering to you, it's head wraps and regular clothes. Now, some people, they get caught up in the, let me get on camera with my lipstick and my hair and my makeup and looking 95%. It'll come. It'll come. I put on a little bit of lipstick every once in a while. I took my hair down yesterday. But, yeah, sometimes the Lord puts you in those types of seasons, and even the look that you do have, you go into those rooms. Imagine going into a room full of celebrities and you got on a regular dress and your natural hair and just the makeup that you could put on and figure out how to wear. You might feel a little underdressed to be in the rooms and places with them, because and they may actually look at you like, what's she doing here dressed like that? Who's that? Understand, I had this happen to a coach of mine a couple years ago. She had a business event she was going to. She was invited by a top earner of a company that she was associated with, and he wanted her and her team to come down because of the fact that they had made such a significant amount within the company. And because of that, she went and she had on her nice little dress and all that kind of stuff. There was one woman that always rejected her every time she saw her. But it's funny, because when she went to this particular event, she went and sat down at the table. When she first met the woman challenged her. She didn't know she was challenging her, but she sat up there and said, what you think you gonna do in this company? And she came, and that day, my coach came into the event looking like this. Head wrap, whatever outfit she had on. And they were like, what you think you gonna do? And she was like, there's a Instagram meme that goes, oh, you underestimated me. This is gonna be fun. And that's exactly what she did. 42 days. She was VIP in the company, surpassed this woman. Ended up coming to the event and was sitting at the table, and the woman was like, what you sitting over here for? And she's like, because I'm VIP. VIP representative. She made it into vice president status of representatives for that company. And that woman was livid. She went into some of these spaces and these people were looking at her like, what are you doing here? I've gone into rooms, but see, the one thing I know when it comes down to, I used to go to business events, especially when I was going to the event part. I always knew I got to dress a certain way when I walk into the room. So I made sure that I put my best outfit on to be able to go into that space. Put myself together as best as I could. And instantaneously, every time I went, people were drawn to me. Always. But there are going to be people that just don't like you. They just don't like you. And you're going to have to live with that. David was rejected. Saul wanted to kill David. Joseph, his own brothers hated him so bad that they threw him in a pit. One wanted him dead. The other said, please don't kill him. And the other said, let's all just sell him into slavery. Get rid of him. Whole family. But Joseph did what? He ended up becoming the prime minister. and doing exactly what he prophesied he told them that he was going to do before all that mess happened. With that being said, God will have people reject you because sometimes their rejection is your protection, and sometimes their rejection ushers you right into your blessing. If they hadn't rejected him, they'd have never thrown him in the pit, sold him off, ended up putting him in slavery, where he would have met Potiphar, where he turned around and ended up yet again being put back into jail, then ended up being pulled out. And when he got pulled out for the dream that he interpreted, he ended up that quick ending up prime minister. Took a few years, but guess what? He got it. Because sometimes rejection, just like Jesus, Judas came there only to kiss him, to send him to his death. But his death was not the death for death. It was the death for his burial and resurrection, for the remission of all of our sins. I bet you Judas was like, I wish I hadn't kissed him that day. But he didn't. He ended up getting killed on a pike. So he killed himself. Them rejecting you will sometimes lead to the end of them, because the wrath of God on them will be so bad. It's a woman that rejected me very viciously in my past season. And in all honesty, I have no qualms with her. Not with her. The spirits on her can go to hell. But her, I forgive her, the person. Not the spirit operating in her. Her. I just know that the spirit that she operates under, that narcissistic, manipulative spirit, can't have it in my life. She recently tried to reach out to me. Blocked immediately. You have to be careful and you have to be aware. At a season of elevation, all your enemies gonna come back through the woodwork, trying to get through whatever hole, crack, and any crevice that they can get through. Be aware. Know who your enemies are. Know who your enemies are. Walk in the blessings of God, and do not cast your pearls to swine, because their rejection is your protection, because you get to realize, it's an old saying and I've heard it many times, and a lot of people will say this: they're showing you who they are. Believe them. Okay? With that being said, this is Taj McCameron for the ministry. Much love, faith, peace, and blessings to you. Bye-bye.